I've missed you like in between our lives, but I've missed
Yeah.
our lives as well. And
Yeah.
I wasn't going to miss it for anything today. I was just about ready when you first texted me. So, yeah.
It's been a while, hasn't it, since we did
Oh,
this?
yeah. How's work, Francis?
Work has been good. It has been pretty busy recently, but hey ho, we are here. Eventually, it's always going to be busy, isn't it? We just have to manage.
Yeah, yeah. And the
And
children are
how?
back at school, aren't
Yeah.
they?
Oh, well, they've been back at school for a while now. It's just the
Mm,
weekends. But yeah,
yes.
they got back to school a month ago, 3 weeks ago, I think.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yeah. I'm really hoping your network isn't going to be a problem tonight because it sort of goes and comes back. Uh,
Yes, I
mhm.
think it's going to be fine. I was going to try the other room, but that's where the network is a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would love to do it in the other room because I'm surrounded by my plants and there's a
Mm,
window with all my plants outside and little trees and
mm,
bushes.
mm.
And I don't trust it in the other room because I FaceTime regularly. I FaceTime weekly with my sister, and we always have problems in that room. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
You've
I'm
you've
just
you've
not going to
qu-
take the risk. Yeah.
you've had quite a few, weeks gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we go into this live, let's welcome our dear friends, Stedman,
Yes.
Joe, Becky. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this live stream. Stedman missed it last time. Joe and Becky were on, I think. Yes, but apologies, we didn't advertise this because we were not sure whether we would be on, especially as Catherine has been extremely busy recently. But here we
That's
are.
true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here we are, and we hope from now on, Catherine, we are going to get back into yes, full swing.
Well, your company is irresistible, Francis, so I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
glad to be here. Yeah.
Oh, we love them, don't we? And we miss
Yeah.
them. We have missed you all,
Lovely,
by the
lovely.
way. Yes, we have really. Every time we take long to do these live streams, me and Catherine in the background sort of talk about how much you guys are great and how we miss all of you. You really, really motivate us to do these lives every day, so keep that support coming. Mm, mm. And Catherine, I'm wearing this. Is one of those you sent to me. Remember?
No, I love it.
Can you see that? The
Yeah, I
yeah,
do.
Francis
I
Fay
saw it on your last
media.
live. I thought,
Yes,
oh, look what I've missed.
yes. So thank you so much. You're making such a huge impact here, as you can see.
Yeah.
So yes, where should we start from, Royals?
Well, it's your show. You know how you want to kick off. There's so much going on. Like
So
uh,
much going on.
and world events are really piling in on the royal family as well,
Mm.
so I find the climate at the moment very interesting. So
Yeah,
you kick off. You
yeah.
know what you want to talk about.
Why not? Why not kick off with the king himself, King Charles? He's been quite around a bit, as you can imagine. He had a conversation with the Prime Minister the other day. But hey, that's part of his role, isn't it? To check in with his Prime Minister and see how things are going with the government and all the policies that, are debated in the Parliament. But one of the key events for me that stood out on the side of King Charles showing up was when he visited that Syrian restaurant in London. I think the gentleman was called Ahmad, Ahmad Syrian Kitchen. So the owner of this kitchen is from Damascus. He used to own a lot of restaurants in Damascus before the Syrian war. And so obviously the war displaced all of them and they ended up in the UK, and a number of other Syrian business people, entrepreneurs who have now established themselves here in the UK. And they are doing great work for Syrian communities, for the Syrians who are here in the UK. And for this visit, really, the king was checking in on how uh, these Syrian refugees are coping and how their businesses are supporting their fellow Syrians who are here. So it was good to see the king, of course, visit. Whenever King Charles visits, we know that a kitchen somewhere is going to be involved because he loves his food. Okay. So he was in the kitchen. But that is part of King Charles's role to check in on communities. These are his, the people. He's the monarch, and he's there to ensure that all of these people who move across to the United Kingdom settle in nicely, and if they need any support, then the royal family comes in and supports in any way that it can. So I think it was a great visit from the king, wasn't it, Catherine? Have you followed up on it?
I did. I've
Mm,
been paying attention. He was trending on X yesterday for other reasons, but he has been in the news considerably. Yeah, well, since Christmas, and um, he's receiving mixed reaction from his traditional um, segment of the population. So I was very interested in it because I'm a Christian and I went to Catholic schools,
mm,
and I would like to see a little more emphasis on other traditions in Britain, and I have to say this, I was hoping you wouldn't bring the King up today, actually, because I have to say this because I'm not going to criticize the King, I'm not. And I'm really happy to see him looking very well.
yes.
And I'm, very disappointed with his son. And I think his son has contributed a great deal to the stress in his father's life.
Mm,
However, my biggest issue with the king is he pays, there is a disparity
mm,
in the his attention to the variety of faiths. But he did
mm,
say some time back he
mm,
wants to be a defender of all faiths, but I feel that maybe that has contributed to the collapse of the church, which he is the head of, because that
mm,
church, under the recent archbishop who resigned,
mm,
um, just basically collapsed under his leadership because he claimed that they no longer want to be recognized as a church, they want to be recognized as a community.
mm,
Well, so I just find it a very difficult subject as a royalist,
mm,
and I'm still a strong royalist, but I have, some reservations about some of the emphasis. There doesn't appear to be enough emphasis on the Christian faith. And I noticed in your last live, you had a beautiful. I went to Catholic schools, I was educated by the nuns,
mm,
and my parents were Catholics. My mother was a staunch Catholic.
mm.
And I noticed you had the image of the Virgin Mary there on your wall. So I'm sure that, I'm expressing, I can't express your opinion. I don't know what it is. We haven't discussed it. When you said the king, I thought, oh my God, no, I want to start with Catherine.
Ah,
Can we start with Catherine, please? But let's get it out of the way.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to
So,
leave it at that. I could say a lot
yes,
more. I'm
yeah,
going to
yeah,
leave it there. But
yeah.
like in his Christmas speech, he wanted to. I felt part of the problem with his Christmas speech was he didn't want to poke the bear with Harry and Meghan, so he had no photos like the
Mm,
Queen has. So he had no photos. But then he went further. He's talking about the, the angel and the Virgin Mary was listening to the angel. Well, he could have had a nativity scene. So I
mm,
feel like the Christian iconography has been just suppressed in
mm,
favor of other religious traditions. So I'll
mm,
finish it on that note, which is look, if people want to observe Ramadan, go ahead. But
mm,
I feel as the head of the church, and it is a church, it's not a community space. He even
mm.
called the chapel a community space. Stop it. Stop it. I want to slap someone. Stop it. No one is buying it. No one, you know, but
Yeah,
he
yeah.
wanted to be, he wanted to be the defender of all faiths. And I think that is his Achilles heel
Mm,
because his traditional support is ebbing away. And if you read a lot of royalists online are just, they were very disappointed with that. I frankly don't care if he wants to do that. I'm being honest, but
mm,
lift up the Christian faith, lift
mm,
that up. If you want to
mm,
do that, fine. I really don't care. If you want to go and sit and, with some Hindus, my son works in a very Buddhist area, but it's also staunchly Catholic out west. He has his business out there.
mm.
Do it, just do it. But I do feel that the Christian faith is not getting enough measure.
Enough. Yeah, yeah. He needs to do that. He really
Yeah,
does. Because
yeah,
and I understand where maybe he wants where he's coming from by showing up more on the other side than uh, this side of the Christian faith. I think partly because of uh, the issues that we had with Islamists and all of that stuff, and how
yes.
the Muslims were starting to be alienated and called terrorists and all of that sort of thing, and now he is trying to show the world that he is a modern king who is very inclusive of all faith, and so I think he is here uh, trying to show maybe a little bit too much, uh, that is a king that is also very, very caring for other faith. But yes, I get what you're saying here. He has come across as again veering off from what he should be doing more and paying
Mm.
more attention to, especially as he's the head of the Church of England. And
That's right. He's the head of the
so
church, and
mm,
they fought a war over it. They
mm,
fought the Tudors. There was a war fought over this, and
mm,
historically speaking, to break away from the Catholic Church, the reasons for that war were in order so that Henry VIII could marry his mistress. But they fought a war for this, and
mm,
and now and now the church is being diminished. That's
mm,
what I can't accept. I just can't accept that.
mm,
Like I said, I don't care if you want to acknowledge Ramadan. I don't care,
mm,
but
mm,
hold us up. Have a
mm,
nativity set,
mm,
beside the Christmas tree. It's a Christmas message, and I
mm.
feel like there's a lot of angst, and I feel that the king is not reading the room. And I
Yeah.
agree with you. I agree. And England, the United Kingdom, is one of the most multicultural nations in the world. It is the most welcoming. No one could ever take that away from the UK.
Mm,
It's,
mm,
no one can take that away. But as a Christian, I have to stand for my faith, and it would be remiss of me to not. You asked me, Francis. You're thinking, I wish I hadn't asked her.
I did.
I
I
know
know.
you are, but I can't be silent when I'm asked this
Oh
question.
yes, just go on, and that's why we come down here on this show to share
Yeah,
thoughts, things
and
like
I'll leave it
however
at that.
sensitive they are here, and
Yeah.
most of our, if not all of our friends in the comments section here side with you. They say you make a good point. In fact, Becky Lee was saying it's looking as if King Charles is coming across as political. It's the way things have so much changed, and how the royal family,
Yes,
especially the king now, is increasingly getting involved in some of these political issues. And if you're going to side or visit these other faiths like the Muslims and all of this, these are people who have been at the center of the political, decisions and issues that have been discussed. They think they have been marginalized by, by leaders, and the Muslims are not given the respect that other Christians are receiving here. So I think for the king visiting most of these Islamist faith is to remind them that, hey, listen, you're very parcel and part of the British culture, which is Christian. The majority, the huge
yes,
percentage of British population and culture is Christian. So I think the king is very much trying to show them that you're also part of this community. You're welcome. And we are having most of these coming across from the war-torn areas: Syria, Afghanistan,
yes,
Iraq, Iran. These places we've had spillovers of people coming across here in the UK. And these have led to increase in the number of um, Muslims, and so the king, I think, here is trying to extend that sort of moral support to these people as well. But hey, this is King Charles. When you're a
we
leader,
know what we got.
what you
We know
have,
what we
yeah,
got. Yeah,
yes, yeah, we
yeah.
knew what we've
We
got.
yeah. So I
But
don't.
anyway,
I mean, I don't wish to trash him. I came out for him and Camilla, and I was
mm,
never a Camilla fan, right? You know that. It's
yeah,
not about. It's not personal. It's just I'm a Christian, and I resent a chapel being called a community space. I
mm,
resent the absence of a nativity scene when the message is about angels, and I
mm,
resent a Christian message at Christmas, Happy Christmas, and a whole statement put out for Ramadan, and I
mm,
resent that he doesn't uphold the disciplines of the Christian faith by promoting prayer and fasting and going to church,
mm.
and he upholds other faiths in preference to the one he is supposed to represent. There, I put it in a soundbite. I that's it.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
personal. Do that, and I'll sing your praises. This is why I've been quiet. Because
Mm,
I've not been happy. This is why I'm quiet on YouTube, because if I talk about this, I'll just go into other areas as well. And I don't know if it's going to be helpful, because the monarchy is still vulnerable, because
mm,
it's not long since the Queen has died. We're still
mm,
under, we're still under her, I was going to say shadow, but it's not her canopy, the canopy
mm,
of her leadership. We're still
mm,
living under that beautiful canopy, her heritage. And William, one of his former advisors, has just come out on 60 Minutes and said he'd never heard William so low than when he had that conversation with him, telling him about the cancer of his wife after
mm,
the cancer of his father was announced. The royal family needs all our support, you know,
They do, and that's why the other
but
day
the
when
king's not
we
making it easy. Yep.
yeah, yeah, it's not, and this is
Yeah.
why the other day when we came on here, we said that uh, we just have to, see King Charles through his reign, and just give any support we can in the hope
Joe,
that when
Joe Vickers
when
says here, poor Francis. I think he agrees to disagree with you, Catherine. It's the first time we rarely disagree on anything. And
and I love
Francis,
it.
don't I?
I do.
I know.
I do love it,
I.
Joe. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but she's right. I'd like to think Catherine is right. I think the king sometimes comes across as going away from, what people would have loved to see him do more, and tends to invest more time in things rather than him putting that time elsewhere where, British, people really need him to show and be more aggressive in promoting and, inspiring that side of the community. But as a king, obviously, I think he gets these invitations. Some of
Yeah.
these communities, these religious faith and the Muslims, they invite him to their premises, and of course, they also they give him gifts. They want a piece of that cake as well, and they
Of
know
course.
that where the
Yeah.
royals go, there is going to be a lot of publicity, and it's like that awareness. They want to be seen, and who else can put them on the map than the king himself visiting? So it's a difficult one for him to say no when these invitations come in, because you know what will follow next. Of course, he said no because we are this. He said no because we are that. So he faces a huge challenge of of saying no. And when you are a king like him, who came into the scene quite unpopular, what you have to do is to say yes a lot of the time, to sort of become a darling in people's hearts. Okay.
It's true. No one disputes that. We get the game. I mean, we're
Yeah.
royal watchers, so we're a lot more um, nuanced in
Mm,
our opinions, and we're
mm.
not flat out, anti this or anti that. We're looking for a way through, and the
Yeah.
future really is looking good with Catherine and William because
Oh
they're such
yes.
a magnetic team. They are
Oh
so,
yes.
yeah,
Yes.
they're
And they have
so
they
fantastic.
and there is a feeling that they are coming closer and closer to taking sitting on that throne, very very close to sitting on it, and we shall come to that, I know, in the show. So let's first get these some of these stories out of the way. Camilla hosted a bunch of celebrities at Buckingham Palace, and I heard that they were there for the final of the national writing competition. Some of those celebrities that were in attendance at Buckingham Palace included actress Olivia Colman and comedian Matt Lucas. So we know that Camilla is so much into reading and writing. So most of those events she's hosting at Buckingham Palace, and and getting herself involved in have got a lot to do with national theatre writing, plays, acting, and because she is very passionate in that area, and she's got to do something. uh,
Mm, mm,
she's got to
mm.
show up. She's got to be out there as the queen. She's got to play her part in this very very um, you know what should I say? William, Catherine, they step up, the king. So Camilla, and she tends not to be. So she's one of the unsung heroes. So she goes out, but
Yes.
her events are never publicized that much because people don't have so much interest in, But she's done a lot. We know, for actually, I started sympathizing with Camilla during the COVID times, and during the time her husband was diagnosed. I'm talking about the king, and Catherine was out of play at the time as well. So she stepped out and filled that void at the time. Remember, Princess Anne fell off that horse, as well. So she was down. Her diary was closed for some time. So it was Camilla who was out and about. But since they got back, Camilla has sort of gone back to where, you know. But she hosted that event at Buckingham Palace recently with celebrities turning up at Buckingham Palace to see of the finalists for that writing competition. The BBC organized this, and over 44,000 entries were received
That's
in this
fantastic.
competition. People sending in their short pieces to be read, and so this was more of a finalist event, and we are told that the importance, or what should I say, this event was significant in a way of encouraging, young people, communities to develop writing skills, go back to writing and communicating, because nowadays, especially young ones, with the new with technology, computers, chat GPT, AI, you know, a story can be written for you within a second by AI. So it has really, really disrupted people's writing skills. So we are told that this event, organized by BBC and commissioned by Camilla, was aimed at encouraging local communities, young ones, to learn how to write. I don't know how much money the winner, or what sort of what sort of award will be given out to the winner, but that was what Camilla was up to at Buckingham Palace recently. So seems like every royal had something going on last week.
Yeah, I
Um,
like I like what
mm,
she does with her reading room. I've listened to a couple of podcasts
yeah,
with the Queen and other celebrities, Joanna
yeah,
Lumley being one of them, because I'm a big fan of Joanna
yeah,
Lumley. Who isn't?
yeah.
She's such a iconic
Mm,
figure.
mm,
But I do like Camilla's work in that area. I think that it's really inspiring, and it's actually a little similar to what Catherine does with her early years,
mm.
those early years, whereas Camilla's is a little bit later. It's actually when they are in school and they have some literary skills, but they're not quite
Yeah,
there
quite
yet.
there. Yeah.
I like that work, and I kind of envy it because I've got bookcases all over my apartment.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying to find spaces for more
yeah,
books that I keep bringing
yeah.
in. So to me, it's right there in my wheelhouse, and I think it's inspiring, but it's also appropriate for a queen consort. It's appropriate for her to have those less
Sort of
controversial
roles.
issues,
Yeah.
yeah, that doesn't keep her in the background, but it
Mm.
steps back a bit from those big
She's got to
marquee
have a
issues.
role. Yeah, she's got
Yeah,
to
yeah.
have a role there, because for a long time, Camilla is one that has been the dark horse in the royal family, as we know. And,
Mm,
and so she's come out since the death of the Queen. We have seen her actually come out. She is just starting to get back into people's good books, as you can imagine. And I
yeah,
think this coming of Meghan Markle helped Camilla so much, because the more people have gotten not to like Meghan Markle, the more they've turned to Camilla as somebody they actually like better than Meghan Markle. But you're very right. You're very right in saying that Queen Camilla's role is in a way, you know, is in a way similar to Catherine. Catherine is mainly looking at the early
mm,
years,
mm,
young ones, age of 0 to 5, and young people. And then Camilla seems to be handling the projects that are overseeing the elderly, people who are much, much more developed, and those programs. We know she's also, I think she is a patron of most of all of these domestic violence
yeah,
projects. Again, these are projects to do with people who are, at that stage in their lives compared to what Catherine is. So it's very interesting, because she's the queen consort right now, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, will be the Queen Consort very soon as well. So I can see Catherine probably taking on all of these roles of Camilla when she
Mm.
assumes that role. And she should be observing Camilla and maybe keeping in touch with her in terms of what Camilla does, because she will be somewhere, somehow assuming most of Camilla's roles going forward. Hi, Dorothy. Thank you so much for joining us again. Dorothy said she came across our channel. Hey, you're welcome to this channel. We are very friendly, as you can see. Please say hi to all our friends in the comments. I think Stedman left. Did she leave? I must have missed her comment
She
there.
had to go to work.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
go to work. I picked
Yeah.
that up from Free Speech. Hi, Kathy. How are you? Thank you so much for visiting. Um, yes, I think Stedman left. Deborah is on here. Aspi. Hi, Aspi. Hi, Spectre. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are so grateful. Joe, we are very grateful for this bunch of sweet people. Becky's
Yeah.
from Canada. Yes. So grateful. Aren't we, Catherine? So that is Camilla there for you. So who else have we got stepping out? Catherine, Princess of Wales, has also been out with the husband recently visiting Wales. So we saw those beautiful images. These two
Mm.
look beautiful and adorable every time they step out.
Mm.
And those little subtle signs, again, Catherine giving away when we see her patting her husband at the back as they were greeted by this bunch of school children in Wales recently. And royalists looked deeper into those warm touches by Catherine when she patted her husband's back and said that that was Catherine telling us how her husband is a very good man, very loving and caring to Catherine. It's good to see their chemistry every time they step out, isn't it? What do you think about their stepping out recently in Wales? Did you follow?
Oh, I did. And
Mm.
like I said, I've been quiet. I had a break because I just needed a break from the internet over
Yes.
Christmas. But then, as we discussed at the beginning, I've been quiet for a reason because I just was so dumbfounded by a few things, you know. So I just thought, if you can't say something good, say nothing, right? So, but with Catherine, and the only thing I could put up was a guy who was so excited. I just put someone else's video up. I just felt his excitement. He said, "Oh, I stepped out into the high street today and I couldn't believe how close I got to um, the Prince and Princess of Wales." And his excitement was just spilling. This is a grown man.
Yeah.
He's not a boy. He's not a teenager with a Catherine crush. He probably
Mm.
does have a Catherine crush now, but
Mm.
he was so thrilled and excited. But everyone was the same, and the way they walked out to the crowd, but they were confident. They were their step was sure. You know, they were sure-footed. Oh, it was so wonderful to see them as a couple like that, and they looked buoyant. They
Mm.
just were just I don't know. When you see Catherine, there's always a little bit of a gasp, but seeing them like that just reminded us of what a power couple they are.
They
They're just
are. Yeah,
such a
yeah.
power couple.
Oh, they are. Look at Spectre said that, Catherine looked a lot stronger on her visit to Wales. She really did. And she always does every time they step out together. You can feel that energy burning off between them and how they support each other. And when Prince William steps out alone, you can see that he really misses being out with
Yes.
his adorable wife, because I think together they are more stronger than ever. So they were there, of course, to celebrate Saint David's Day in Wales. It is a very special day, and of course, as Prince and Princess of Wales, uh,
Mm,
this is a day they always spend in Wales to show love and support and compassion.
beautiful.
It's not like Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. These two have never even stepped in Sussex to support communities and projects there. They are known as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, but they are not doing anything for that area that they were named after, which is a shame, really, isn't it? And they are using this title in United States when they are actually not using it for the benefit of the people that it was named after. Okay, such a shame. But William and Catherine, of course, are always going to be the darlings everywhere they go. You could see the energy in the crowds, people waving and everybody wanting to take those selfies. Catherine, Princess of Wales, of course, uh, left with, I can't even count how many bouquets or bunches of flowers that she received on the day. You could see
She
Prince William passing
deserves it.
them on. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah. Very,
she
very adorable.
deserves it. Oh, she
She deserves
deserves it.
everything great she does. And
Mm.
this is it. We've heard that she has even been given a new responsibility. She is going to be issuing royal warrants. Have you heard of that?
I
Yes.
have, I know.
Oh my
Like
God.
it really elevates her, doesn't it? It really is telling us this, like the future is closer than we think. So I was actually so excited when I read that.
Yes, yes, that's what I was saying. They are getting closer and closer to
Mm.
that throne. They are. Because we saw lots of these things happen during Queen Elizabeth and King Charles, I mean the Prince of Wales, then starting to take on some of these responsibilities, representing the Queen here, and the Queen giving King Charles more responsibilities, big honors, and it's the same sort of thing we are starting to see now with Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, starting to receive all these prestigious honors. Now, there is, the last time a Princess of Wales held that honor was 1910. So it's like over a century ago, we are having who? Catherine, Princess of Wales. She can now give a seal of approval, okay, to businesses, to projects, to things that she sees have got, have that she believes in, basically. Okay. And for someone like Catherine to have such an honor, it means that there is so much a difference she's going to make with that sort of responsibility, because she's going to be putting through real projects, real people
Mm.
who are helping people genuinely, because we know that's what she does, that's what she breathes.
Mm.
So it's a very, very prestigious award and responsibility that has been extended to Catherine. And this is again a continuation of her, position becoming more crucial and more central in the British monarchy. And this to us is telling us that she's being rewarded for all her
Yeah.
patience. Mm, mm,
Yeah. She's a very oh gosh, what is it about this woman that has us so captivated? What did her parents get right, in the raising of this daughter? They have three children, Pippa, and I think her brother's name is James. And what is it about this woman that captivates their imagination and equally, triggers her opponents, vehemently so. But when I read that, I thought, oh, I look forward to seeing. I wonder what will be her first warrant. I
mm,
wonder what she, because, the first is, it's always like your firstborn, you know, in a project or a child or a business. And the first is always quite significant and it really sets you up for what's to come, doesn't it? So
Yes.
I just think she's a remarkable woman and her poise and grace is
Mm.
effortless.
It
It's,
is. Yes. It
she's
is.
not trying. She's not trying to be elegant. She's not trying to be kind or gracious. She just oozes
She does.
kindness. The
Mm.
children respond to her
Mm.
in
Mm.
a
Mm.
way that, you know, the Duchess of Doolittle, they seem to run away from her. But with
Mm.
Catherine, she's just this force of nature. She has this force field that draws children in, it draws women in, it draws men in, you know. No wonder that guy in Wales was thrilled. He was beside himself with glee, you know. He said, look what I stepped out into. It was like listening to a little kid. So beautiful.
She's just grace everywhere she goes. The other day she visited this prison, and in there, of course, she had gone to look to
Yeah.
see inmates who are mothers giving birth in a prison environment. And look how the prisoners, who are usually very aggressive and how adorable, they looked at her and thought she was so graceful and very kind of her to come and visit these mothers in prison, in jail. And Catherine, I mean, made time to go and visit this baby unit in a prison setting and took time to find out how these young children being born in the prison are coping, if there are any facilities, if there is any support. Again, the grace of being able to understand that, in this world, there are mothers who are giving birth in challenging positions, in places, and her taking the time to go there. Okay, so that was really great to see. But for Catherine, like you said, um, she's just natural. She wasn't born in this role, but she sort of grew into it and became even better than those who were born in it. Okay, and she doesn't do these things for praises because she wants to be seen. No, she's doing this right from her heart, and she comes from a position of I want to support my husband.
Mm,
She's all of these good things she's doing is to see that her husband, is becomes, what can I say? It is all in support of her husband. She really loves
mm,
her husband. And a good woman does these things. When they love their husbands, they will do whatever they can to support them. Um, Now, when they step out together, young kids ask, "Oh, are you Princess Catherine? Are you this?" And she said, "No, I'm married to William." So you see, she always passes these praises back to her husband. Okay, okay. So that is a clear indication that this is
that's
not a
beautiful.
woman, yeah,
Yeah.
who is stepping out because she wants to tower over the royal family, to tower over her husband and become the
No.
most popular, like we see Meghan Markle usually do with Prince Harry. She wants to run far away ahead of Harry. She wants to give those speeches. She wants to, try out things fast before Prince Harry gets to try them out. But
Yeah.
Catherine, completely the opposite. She's has that quiet confidence. She works from the behind the scenes, and she tells us that you don't always have to be at the front to be recognized. You can create a huge positive impact from the behind the scenes. So she has been doing this ever since she joined the royal family, and up to now, it is the same Catherine that we know, who hasn't grown wings and started, wanting to fly. You know, and it is that patience that is now paying off. Yeah. So she's given these honors, she deserves everything that she
Yeah,
gets, woman.
yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, I love the way you speak about about Catherine Francis. I like your videos when you put things up. They're like little love notes,
Yeah.
to the princess, the future queen, and everything you say is right. I was deeply touched by, because I've visited people in prison, and can you imagine what it would have meant for a woman who's incarcerated for whatever reason, had her baby in prison, for someone like Catherine, who's authentic.
Hmm.
Meghan Markle. Let's look at the opposite. How would she have handled that? She would have been ghastly.
Oh yeah.
She would have worn the wrong clothes,
Hmm.
and she would have. Oh, I doesn't it beggars belief the way that woman conducts herself, but not Catherine. She knows how to draw people in, and those women would have been disarmed. Because when you're in prison, all your defenses are up. You think the world hates you, and whether, rightly or wrongly, for whatever reason you're in there, you're in prison. And
Hmm.
Jesus said, he said, you didn't visit me in prison.
Hmm.
And they said, but when were you in prison? And he said, when you did the least to these, my little ones, you did it to me. So she went, Catherine disarms people. I don't know, she's just got this amazing quality. She's really in a league of her own, that woman. Honestly, I, I just
She is.
can't wait to see what kind of queen she
Queen
will
she
be.
is, yeah. Well, it's not going to surprise us that she's going to be a great queen because first and foremost, she has allowed herself to be humble. When you're humble, you know, you are bound to do things rightfully, you're bound to follow the right protocols. And this isn't the first time, I'm talking about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Royal
Mm,
Protocol. She is one of those royals
mm,
who know royal protocol from the toe right up to
yeah.
her last piece of hair on her head. And part of that as well comes because she's very respectful of her husband. She was very respectful of the late Queen Elizabeth. Uh, King Charles adores her. I mean, when they meet in public, in gathering, you see all the kisses that King Charles blows to her. You know, and this is something
I know. I think the king's got a crush on her as well. I've got a crush on her, and
Meghan
I'm
Markle
straight
hated
as
this.
all. And I have a Catherine crush. I mean, you could tell the king has got a real crush on Catherine.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
he's just, oh God, I don't
It's
know.
because of the respect. It's because of the respect Catherine
Yeah,
gave
yeah.
to the king, to everybody in the royal family, young and old, and everyone, the children themselves. Look at when she's speaking to children out on engagements. Catherine will never tower over those kids. She gets right down to the knee and listens to these children. You always judge somebody most of the time from how they behave out in public with other people. Really tells us how they are inside with those that they spend most of their time with. And that's why for us it's very easy to then see Meghan Markle and how she behaves, and we definitely can tell that her behavior indoors is bound to be even worse than what we see
Oh, oh.
with her
I
yeah.
shudder. I shudder to think. I just feel Harry's abused. I
Okay.
do. I
Yeah. Yeah.
think he's an
He's,
abused spouse.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
with Catherine's children and her husband, she just like they're so adoring of their mother. They just reflect her back to herself.
Mm.
And I know there's a lot of talk online about the response Archie had to Meghan recently. He said, she asked him, "Do you want to do this?" And he goes, "Oh, only if you want me to, mummy." And whereas Catherine lets Prince Louis do a little jig on the balcony, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she handled during the Platinum Jubilee, she handled his, he was overexcited and he was really
Louis.
outside his skin. Louis, yeah, he was really, and she was wearing a fuchsia pink dress. And you could see she was stressed by it,
She's
but she
playing
just
a mother role
handled it well, you know.
very
He's
well.
holding her face and he's kissing her,
Oh,
and you
yes.
could see the glaze, you know, mum's
Yeah.
glaze. It's like,
Yeah.
why now, you know?
And
But
she's
yeah,
been through that so many times with
yeah. And that's
Charlotte
how
as
you
well.
know.
Yeah,
That's
even
that
Prince.
that is how you know. You know what
Yeah,
kind of parents they are because
yeah,
their
very
children are free to be
mm,
themselves, even though they're being trained. They're being
mm,
trained for their future, you know. She oh, I don't know. I just feel she is actually the strength of the monarchy. And
mm,
you know, David Starkey, the historian David Starkey, who's written all the books about the Tudor period. That's his stream. But he said he doesn't know what it is about the outsiders that marry in, apart from Meghan, of course. But he's speaking about Catherine and um, Sophie. They are almost more royal than the royals. You know,
mm,
because they understand what's been granted to them. They understand what's been conferred on them and they treasure it.
mm,
They don't cast it aside and they're not entitled. They hold what's been conferred on them with honor and respect and regard because Sophie's the same with Edward. She
mm,
treats him
mm,
with enormous respect and
mm.
he's a little more introverted than William, but oh, Catherine, you know, she's really, honestly, she's becoming, if not already, the most famous woman in the world.
Well, she is,
Mm.
and Donald Trump the other day was saying it how he really admires Catherine, Princess of Wales,
Yeah.
Prince William for being very humble, very hardworking, very good people to the monarchy. That's how he put it. William, Catherine, they are very good people to the monarchy. So, and LC just says here, LC, that Catherine is very relatable. Of course, she is. She is indeed. You couldn't have said that any better. But when you see how she deals with the young children and then Princess Charlotte throwing those tantrums and Catherine and then Catherine is trying to be the future queen, but at the same time, she's also the mother of these very, very demanding children growing up. We all know that sort of age and how it is very demanding. Now, she's also raising the future king in George.
Yes.
People forget that. They really forget that raising a future king is another full time job. So you're married to the future king, you're raising a future what? King. So
Mm.
and then all the mix, all these other things that go on in the middle here. So Charlotte and Louis. That's a full-time job. Two, three full-time jobs. And she
Mm.
has to also fight for her place in the royal family as somebody with a role. So we see her driving forward her early years. Because if it was somebody else, they would have sat down there and said, okay, I'm gonna be full-time mom, raising future king, and married to the future king. That's it. But she still has to carve out her role. She went to university and studied. Okay, and her going to university was to make a contribution in one way or the other to the royal family, not just raising children like other people who can't afford to get off their asses and go to work. She is stuck in there doing her motherly role and as well as that working. She's a working woman in the royal family through her early years, childhood projects. We take hats off for this woman. I don't think because people say, oh, what does Catherine do apart from wearing these nice outfits? Everything is given to her. What does she do? I guarantee you those people can't even last a day in Catherine Princess of Wales's shoe.
I don't know how she does it, to be honest with you. When you think of all of her skills. She's a beekeeper. It came out recently that, she makes her own plum jam
Yeah,
and she teaches the children to cook. She needs her own cooking show. I honestly am in awe of her. I am in total awe of her. She handles public criticism with grace. I don't know. I honestly do not know how she does all these things. She has the most amazing legs, the most stunning figure because she's athletic. There's a video which I really love of her catching a football a few years back, and
yeah,
she's just a natural. She's airborne and she reaches up. Obviously, they've done it a few times, right? We get it.
yeah,
We get it. You know,
yeah.
I'm a
And she
ma-
went to
I'm
this
an am-
rugby.
I'm an amateur photographer. I have to take 100 takes before I get the one I want. So I'm just saying though, like you see her on a sailboat, you see her on the football field,
You see her
tennis.
running.
Yeah, she's like, is there anything this woman cannot put her hand
Yeah,
to?
yeah,
No
yeah.
wonder William fell in love with her.
Oh, yes, yes. And you see, if you're going to work for the royal family, if you're going to play a part meaningfully in the royal family, you have to immerse yourself in all of these activities in ways that are going to come across as you are interested in these things, you're supportive of these projects going on, because you are going to be the patron of so many of these charities, some of them doing things you have never even thought about doing. So you have to wear that hat of being
Yep.
willing to learn. Okay, show vulnerabilities, if that's out there. And she shows a lot of these in
Yeah.
some of the events she goes in, because you see her, she's learning how to. The other day, where was it draw? She went to some of these lessons and she looked as they were drawing and she wants to have a go. And so you have to be interested. And how
Yes.
Catherine does this is she does them with so much grace, because
Yeah.
she's very interested in what people do, interesting things there. She has this positive attribute and attitude to whatever she puts her hands on. Okay, and she believes that everything is going to be okay. So you can see whenever she goes and she's talking to people, and she has her hand right here on her heart, and you see automatically people also getting their hands onto their chest and say, oh, this woman who feels, who sort of wears the shoes we're wearing and puts herself in our
Mm.
situations. And that's how she's helping to empower communities. So when she goes to this rugby sort of project or competition, or she visits this tennis club association, she goes to a gym, and you see her getting involved in those activities, it comes as part of her role as well to sort of be proactive, show interest in the things you're going to do. Even if you don't know something, show that you're willing to learn. This is what has made this woman what she is in the royal.
Yeah.
And Meghan
Yeah.
Markle comes on board and she tries these things on a few occasions. So we see her visiting the Grenfell Tower and she does a bit of cooking. She goes there for visits and she couldn't cope. She really couldn't cope.
It's pathetic. Honestly, the woman is pathetic. I think they did 72 engagements in the whole time, like 72 royal engagements.
Yeah.
How pathetic. Honestly, oh, don't get me started. Don't get me
Yeah.
started. listen, I might have been quiet on YouTube in the last 2 months, but it doesn't mean I'm not what. And as we asked earlier, yes, I will be watching the cooking show. If what I've never watched, I didn't watch Netflix. I'm gonna hate watch this, and I'm gonna review the bloody thing.
Is that
She,
starting in March and the
it
fourth?
starts, yeah.
Fourth
And
March. Is it
the
Tuesday?
thing is, yeah, the fourth, I think. I'm going to watch it and I'm reviewing it. I'm going to watch I'm going to grind my teeth while I'm
Yeah.
doing it
Yeah.
because I like cooking. I like,
It's already being pulled apart. Apparently, she has been
oh,
accused of copying
it's
Pamela
so
Anderson.
bad.
Mm,
Oh, it's so,
she's it's being torn apart before it has even started. And
oh, and I'm a Pamela Anderson fan. I mean, that woman. I just felt that Dior trolled Meghan Markle the other day with that post. Pamela Anderson is in a she's advertising a Dior handbag, the Dior brand.
yeah,
She's looking angelic. She's in
yeah,
this off-white, cream white coat and very little, if any, makeup. Her hair is just, I don't know how old she is. I think she's pushing 80, if not up there.
mm,
She look
mm,
so like she's getting mixed reactions to it, but I love it because the
mm,
internet wants authenticity. But you switch then over to Meghan Markle and you see her in her big pants and bare feet with these awful feet, and she's doing these stupid dances with her hair down like rats' tails. She's cooking. Oh,
mm,
I am watching it. I'm reviewing it. Honestly, she's so bad. But no wonder she was jealous of Catherine
mm,
because you shrink next to Catherine. She
mm,
just, oh, she comes in and she elevates the occasion with her presence.
mm.
Meghan comes in and she's scowling and the mask slips
Yeah,
and she's dragging Harry by the chain. You saw her in, I think, their last royal event. She was in that blue aqua dress with the zip up the back. They come
yes.
into, and she's dragging him. He's
He's
coming
dragging
over.
Harry,
Say
pulling him
hello to
away
someone.
from yes, yeah.
And you would never see Catherine do anything like that. She just drags him around. And I'll tell you something, that speech he gave, oh my God, you got me started, Francis. You've got me started. He says I was born into a life of service. Yeah, you're a service dog for your master, Meghan. That's what he means. He's a service
Yeah,
dog for Meghan. Oh, it's
yeah,
awful. And they're
yeah.
saying that there's going to be another South Park. Oh, bring it on.
I don't think this is gonna be watched by many people because it's Netflix itself is losing subscribers every day because of this association with Meghan Markle allegedly, you know,
Well,
and you
I
see,
unsubscribed because of them,
yeah,
but I've resubscribed so I can hate watch.
but it's like they're flagging a dead horse because you know they know that everything she puts up there, the reviews, people tear it apart, the reviews for that trailer of hers,
Oh, that woman is ghastly. She
people
is no
say how
Martha Stewart.
boring, how, yeah, their project.
Oh,
Their projects are not relatable at all. So you're filming this cooking show. Is it Megan? What's the name of that show? Is it Megan with
as
Love?
ever.
No,
Yes.
there is the cooking show. Is it
As
Megan with
ever
Love?
with Love Megan, yeah.
With Love, yeah, with Love
Yeah, she's
Megan,
changed her
yes.
brand to as ever. Call it
Oh,
whatever. Let's get
the,
real. Let's just call it whatever.
that
As
brand
ever.
is still, yeah. I mean,
Oh.
people are already promising. I mean, they're threatening to sue her for that brand name. There is a business in New York that is already using that name. I think the name for this business started way back in 2015. That as ever small retail, is it clothing? business in New York. They've sold out, by the way. So it's in a way, she helped them sell out, but Meghan hasn't even sold a jar of her strawberry jam. So, but Catherine, Princess of Wales, is giving away free strawberry jam, and
Just
here
giving
she
her
doesn't want.
recipe away.
They're
She said,
just
I'll
giving
send
them
you the
away.
recipe.
You can have them, yes, and yet Meghan's scrambling to hold on
Oh,
very dearly, But this is the
oh,
last gasp. This is the last gasp
yeah.
for Meghan Markle to survive this cooking show here. Let us see how things go. But they have already started pulling it down, with
Yeah.
many saying that elements of this show were copied from Pamela Anderson. Now, you uh, telling the world that this is your cooking show, you love cooking, and yet you're setting this whole thing in somebody else's kitchen somewhere. You know, so right from the start, people are looking at it as not relatable at all. People would have loved to see her cooking her own kitchen in Montecito, seeing the kids run around, and maybe some of her friends and relatives, sisters, maybe her father as well coming in, and she's cooking for them. They are interacting. None of that apparently is going to be part of the show. She's going to be doing some crazy cooking in somebody's kitchen. She's paid £1 million to hire that kitchen. Now tell me if that is going to be relatable at all.
Well, no one does that. No one
Mm,
goes in. You don't go into your neighbour's kitchen and cook your dinner. I've got the most beautiful neighbour. She's gorgeous. They're an Italian family, and
mm,
she has a here. I've got a big kitchen here. When I'm here in my kitchen, I live alone, but I
mm,
send little videos because I've got a fish tank in that area of my fish, and look what I'm making. Oh, look what you guys are missing out on. Like no one goes into their neighbor's kitchen and cooks their meals. It's
mm,
stupid. It's a stupid
mm,
concept. And
mm,
why Netflix bought it, I don't understand. I just think part of the reason this is such a slow death and we're all thinking, oh God, I wish they'd die already. It's because Harry is the royal and people don't really want to get rid of their royal connection. That's what
mm,
I think everything comes back to Harry.
mm,
And Harry knows that. And she damn well knows it. But you don't know, how can anyone relate to her cooking in someone else's kitchen? Look, don't get me wrong, I love all of that very English, the cottage style garden, all the florals. I've got some cake stands here that I use just when I'm by myself.
mm,
My sister visits, I say, come on, let's have some scones and tea. And we get out and have a little, high tea between us. I love
mm.
all that, but I do it in my own kitchen.
Yeah.
I do it in my own kitchen, and I get out my little Frankie Bear, and he's in the other room. I should have brought him in. The dog upstairs has got his eye on him now. I said, no way, no way, you
Mm,
can't have him. And he gave me a side eye while he tried to sneak it out my door. You know what I'm saying? I put my little Frankie Bear and my Paddington Bear there, and they have tea with us. This is stupid. Why did
yeah.
Netflix? Why? Why? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Pamela
Yeah.
Anderson, you can tell they're all around her table. It looks like a big Italian family out in the orchard on a movie
Mm,
set, and
mm,
they're all just loving it. But you get none of that with her. You get nothing
mm,
with Meghan. You can tell everyone's just posing. Ugh.
mm. This is not going to sit well for Netflix going forward. Really not. This association with Meghan Markle. I think they just want to use them as much as they can so they can get the money they paid them, probably because apparently they had already paid them uh 1 million, is it US whatever
Yep.
dollar,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that. But somebody the other day who was saying that, was it I heard someone saying that that money wasn't even paid. It wasn't that much money,
No.
as Meghan Markle and Prince Harry put it. Who was it? I was watching someone recently,
I heard the same thing that
and yeah,
that
I
was
think it
the
was. Yeah, was that the article which was written in?
yeah, yeah,
What
and a few
article
people
was
have
that?
been quoting it, but
Yeah.
they didn't get that full amount. That's what
Mm,
the project was worth, I think. But they got to
mm,
pay. I mean, their companies are in Delaware. Everything's been set
mm,
up in Delaware, which is a tax haven. But they, they have to also pay taxes on all of that.
mm,
Um, but I feel everyone is wondering what they're scratching their head over. Netflix, is they're pretty sharp operators.
yeah.
Why? Why? It's because of Harry. People
Yeah.
don't want to kick the king's son out of the stable. It's as simple
Yeah.
as that. It's like someone said about WME when they dropped Meghan. They just, the last interaction they had was a year ago when she went in and, what are you doing? What projects are set up? And Ari Emanuel had enough, and that was it. And they're saying, no, no, we still represent Archewell. They're saying, no, no, we've still got Harry on our books. It's about the royal connection. It's really not like people. Why are Netflix doing this? Why don't they just drop? If it was just her, they would have dropped her ages ago.
They would have.
She's
Yeah, they would have.
she's
But
talentless.
I think Netflix is being very careful here,
Yeah.
because probably because they signed them on, they don't want to drop them just like that because they can't take them to court for breaking agreements. So what Netflix has to do here is to just plod on with these two until their contract runs out.
Yeah,
With
yeah. They're
yeah,
trying to they're looking for an elegant escape so that
yes,
they're not offending the king by
yes,
booting his son up the
yeah,
backside,
okay,
which is what he
yeah,
deserves.
yeah, yeah,
But no one wants to be the one that does that, except South
yeah.
Park, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Well, same way as we are looking at
Mm,
the Prince Harry's visa issue, in United States, with all
mm.
these debates going on of, whether he's going to be thrown out or not. Now they released sections of his visa apparently the other day. Uh, that those details were going to be made public. I don't know if they've made them public already, but it comes down to, again, the US government not wanting to humiliate, the British royal family
Royal
because
family.
Harry is
They're
still there.
yeah. I mean
Mm,
these are big players.
mm,
Netflix are like these people. Spotify. I mean these are big players, but
mm.
Spotify said, like he didn't care, so they're obviously not monarchists. He called them effing grifters. It's not a lot of people that are prepared to do that.
Yeah.
They want to hold on to that royal connection. They don't want to be the one that, tells the king's son to get lost. They just
Mm,
don't. And
mm,
kind of get it because, I could say a lot of things too, but I don't want to be the one, I'll let other people do it. And
mm,
you never kick people when they're down. And the royal family are coming through some difficult times.
mm,
Even the
mm,
queen was ill, even the queen,
mm,
so uh, but I mean, Suits have invited Meghan back.
mm.
They've said if she wants to come back, there's a role for her. Her role is still here.
It's
But
because they've seen how struggling she is to make it out here. So they're offering her what many people usually call an olive branch. You know, okay, we have seen you
look where she
struggling.
started. She went from being, she's married to, um, where is he the fifth in line in the throne?
Mm,
So she's married to into the line of succession. Her children are in the line of succession. She was a duchess. She is a duchess. But and now that if she takes that, I hope she does go back on Suits, to be honest, because then we can all just laugh and point our fingers and eat our popcorn.
But what
She's
role can she play in Suits even,
well because they got married, and I don't know how it all ended, but they were writing her out. They
Yeah.
were writing her out. Now they're going to write her back in. What? Doing what? And I think that they found her difficult as well before,
Mm,
all of the stuff started to leak out. I don't think they
mm,
found her an easy, she was on the call list, but honestly, they really are a mess. They're a hot mess, those two. I'm watching it and I'm reviewing it. And I unsubscribed from Netflix a long when they signed them up. I
mm, mm,
unsubscribed and I went back on last week so I can hate
mm.
watch it.
Yeah, yeah. So review that for us, Catherine. You know how.
Can
Yes.
you believe it?
We
My son said, "Oh, Mum, you hate Netflix," and he said, "Why are you back on Netflix?" And I said, "Cause so
going
I
to
can
review.
hate watch with love,
Yes,
Megan." Oh
please
my! He just rolled his
review
eyes.
review it for us. I watched that trail of hers, and then she was touching food, no gloves, no headgear. The hair is swinging
Disgrace.
around, and so it didn't get off to a good start. With if you're going to work in the kitchen, at least make the effort to have the correct PPE. You know, on sanitation is so important in the kitchen, but dipping your hands in like that,
That's
fingernails up there,
disgusting.
it's disgusting. And it's swinging hair, there's a lot of sweat flying around, and then you're testing this food and all of that. Or it didn't come out very well. So we hope that she read into people's comments and the reviews on that trailer, and she's going to make changes and take that advice. Because if she doesn't, these are the same things people are going to call out when those series start. In
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think that I mean I don't know what the look. This business merging the kids that we knew, and you and I even talked about it some episodes back of our lives, that when they bring out the kids, they're on their death rattle, really.
mm,
Really, if they're merging the kids, and that Harry has allowed it. Harry has allowed this. It tells you how whipped he is.
mm,
Because he
mm,
never wanted his kids in on camera. He never wanted his kids in the public eye. And I don't have a problem with that,
mm.
except we always felt like they were hiding something, and they were. But
Mm-hmm. But these kids, they, even when they bring them on camera, in a way, it's difficult to convince me that these are the kids.
yes,
This is actually this. They're either blurry, you can't see anything, or you just hear kids in the background. But again, how do you expect people to connect with you when you claim you're a parent, but they've even never seen how you're parenting these kids that you claim you're cooking food for? Okay, so there's this photograph of hers that disappeared on, I think on that Azeva, whatever. There's a card I saw recently, and she was running with holding on to
yes,
Lilibet. Lilibet seemed to be a 2-year old, and got this is it blonde or whatever hair. So we're trying to imagine whether that was her or not. So everything of theirs with regards to their kids and what is always presenting so many questions. Are these the kids actually? Are they even in existence? I know someone here, is it Spectre said we want to see DNA results before accepting. It's like without proof they
Yeah.
they removed. Okay, those kids. And people have all the right reasons to ask these questions. Because if you are the fifth in line and those kids are in line to become, future whatever kings and they're prince and princesses, transparency should be there. These kids should be in the limelight. They should be known about. They shouldn't be ghosts somewhere there that are just, you see this happening. We see George, we see Charlotte, we see Louis. You know, these kids are there and they grow up. People see them as they grow up into responsible, mature individuals who are going to take responsibility. Okay. But when it comes to Harry and Meghan and theirs, these children are sitting in the line of succession, but they are invisible. These questions are always going to be arising. Okay. And Joe said, have you noticed Lady C always put
I just
on
saw that.
the Harry's children hint? Yeah, yeah. Mm. They are not Meghan
Yeah.
Markle's, yeah. It is Meghan and Harry giving people all the reasons to express these sort of views.
Well,
Mm.
that photo you brought up, the photo you mentioned that was on her Instagram of her running with Lilibet. Well, because it's not hard to find images that are not the
Similar.
originals, or you can go into the back and see all of the data on it. And, the internet is full of, eagle eyes and detectives. And that photo is so badly photoshopped of that child. And it actually looks like it's been superimposed. And I'm like, I'm actually shaking my head about this because I don't like to go down too many rabbit holes. I listen to, this, I've got one of my favorite channels, TRG, and she's just such a heavy duty researcher, but I'm careful. I don't want to get too captured by um, uh, certain issues. But and so I was always mindful with the children because they're children. But
Mm,
I do believe whoever brought this up about this really bad Photoshop of that child running with Meghan, I do believe that a photo of Charlotte running barefoot, it's identical. The legs are identical. And one of those child's arms is so badly photoshopped, it looks a mess. And
mm,
so I'm really stepping into an area I really always try to veer away from. But it was so bleeding obvious. It's
mm,
so obvious, Francis, that this is
mm,
really bad Photoshop. So
mm,
I think what's happened is like she's so lazy, but I think that they've got away with so much over
mm,
these children, and I do believe that a surrogate has been involved here. I do believe that I've always wondered about the existence of Lilibet or whether she's even with them if she does exist. But
mm,
if you go and have a good look at that photo, Francis, I reckon they're so lazy about it because they got away with everything and they think they're still getting away with it. They think they're
mm.
still getting away with it. They're not. We see right through them. We see you.
Everything will come to light. It's only a matter of time. Matter of time. And the later they leave these things to come to light, the worse these two are getting themselves. And like we always say, it is them being very selfish, actually, because
Yes.
they are destroying the future of these young kids. They are. Because can you imagine if, when William becomes king and the changes that Prince William could bring about, if those kids are not brought in now for King Charles to recognize and leave them, somewhere within the records of, okay, this is what I have left for so and so. Where are those kids going to end up? Okay, so they better do the needful and start coming straight with regards to those kids. Okay, they need to bring them first and foremost to see the king, because the king has never seen these kids here, apparently. They need to
Well,
bring them.
they're delinquent parents. They're worse. They are worse than, some people will sort of, poo-hoo parents who rely too heavily on nannies to raise their children, whether they're in, business people or whether they're in the aristocracy. People have a dim view when children are raised almost entirely by nannies. But in this case with Harry, he's a delinquent parent. He's
Mm,
delinquent and she's abusive. That's
mm.
it. There is no getting around the ugliness of the way they portray their parenting. It's unlike Catherine, who handled herself with poise. You could
With
see the
poise.
stress on her face during
Oh, yes,
the
yeah.
Jubilee, and Prince Louis was, putting his arms around her, he's choking her, and but you never see anything like that with those. He is delinquent and she's abusive. It's
Now,
I don't see any other way to present it, and for like I've said, I've stayed away from this issue with the children, but when I've seen other photos and I've gone, yeah, yeah, they're photoshopped. And you go in, you can do a Google search and you go in and you look at the data at the back. It's all there. It's like AI. You can pick the phony, the fraud stuff. You can't get away with it today. Oh my
no,
God, they're
no, you can't.
so messy.
Oh, yes, but look here, this comment, yeah. Spectre said, absolutely disgusting to call yourself Duchess and Prince and not answer or
Yeah,
follow the instruction of the monarch.
yeah.
You couldn't have said it any better. You
It's
could.
really good.
This, yeah, this is why we call them out constantly. Okay, they say don't use the royal titles for business, and then you still use the Duke and Duchess of Sussex for these cooking shows. You're making money because everything that is run through Netflix has got a monetary attachment to it, money. So obviously they are making this, they are using the titles for money. You know, when you look at the trailers, of their upcoming projects and how they are advertised, you see Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex. There is nothing of hers that goes out there on the shelf without having the Duchess of Sussex icing on it. And if
Mm,
when you do that, you definitely um, you're using the title, the royal title, and they are not allowed to do that. So that is going against the monarch, going against the rules that were placed on them when those titles were placed in, what is it? Abeyance, what is they were made redundant. Those titles
yes,
not allowed
yes.
to use them. So
Put them
it
in
is,
abeyance.
yeah,
That's
yes,
what it is. Put the
yeah,
titles in abeyance.
yeah.
They're never going to remove their titles. It's not going to happen. If it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. And she didn't do those children any favors insisting that they have a title. She made a fundamental error with that when she just came out and announced it. So what she does, we all know it, we were all there, we all witnessed it. She comes out and she goes, they will be known as Princess Lily and Prince Archie, right? Without the imprimatur of the king. So it's almost like their legitimacy is left hanging because
Mm.
you need the imprimatur, you need the king to
The
do that.
king to shout that out for us, yes.
Yeah,
But again, these are the inconsistencies.
yeah.
Remember, they sat down on Oprah Winfrey show, and they said that they don't care about the titles. They don't care about anything. They can. Harry himself said, they can keep the titles up. We don't want these titles. Okay, the kids. Meghan Markle says, don't care whether they have the titles or not. And then again, how many years go by? Just 1 year. Then she's telling us the kids need titles. Either
Yep.
they need to be called princess because she tried out living a life without any royal attachments, and it
Mm.
was difficult. She wasn't breaking through. She can never, they will never, including Prince Harry, succeed in the US without holding on to the royal family roots and support. Okay, so this is why now they have found themselves, using Duke and Duchess of Sussex more than they even thought they would need that title.
Oh, it's so incongruent. Everything they do, they self contradict. They contradict themselves. Like I find it quite astonishing that Harry. Two things that he comes out and he goes on about immoral leaders. If there is, and I do believe there is, a quiet behind the scenes long term plan to bring him and his kids back, I do believe that. And Richard Eden wrote about it recently. But that's a long term project. It's not going to happen in 5 minutes. You think he would shut up? You know, he is a visitor. He is a visitor in the United States, and he criticizes the president.
Mhm.
He does it slyly. You think he would just zip it, but no, he makes life harder for himself. We've already seen what's happened with one other a high-profile individual who came in and tried to, criticize and talk over the president. But Prince Harry comes in and he makes this, and then he pontificates about, oh, and as a man who was born into a life of service, these two have no idea what they're dealing with. They're so in over their heads, you know, and I believe the repeated calls to have Archewell, investigated by Doge, should be heard. They need investigation. Archewell, I reckon that is their undoing. It's not going to be the kids because everyone wants to protect the kids.
Mm,
It's not going to be the titles. That's not going to be removed. It is their finances. That is going to be
mm,
their undoing. And
mm,
always the money wasn't, which was the mafia lord that it was his taxes that got him in the end, big Chicago mafia lord. That's what's going to bring them down. It's going to be
mm,
an investigation, a thorough investigation of their finances. They're
mm,
on record as having donated to Biden's daughter. But I reckon the reason she wanted it delayed because they reckon she's gone back in. She went back, she rushed back to Montecito from the Invictus Games, and she did it because she thought, oh my God, they saw the stats on that trailer online. And we got to do something. We got to fix this. And I think what she did was she put the kids in the cooking show. So I expect to see the kids, more and more and more of the kids. I reckon that
mm,
was it. I reckon the kids are in there. But those two are in deep poo. I was going to say
mm,
something else. They're in deep trouble. But, you know, Harry, if he wants to return to the United Kingdom, even just as a member of his family, he needs to do better than this.
He's already tarnished those bridges. Harry
Yep,
has.
yep.
I don't think he will ever come back in any capacities of working for the royal family, and I don't think he will have any close associations with the royal family because the trust has since gone. It has. They know how he allegedly, goes back and says everything to the wife, and once all of these things get into the wife's ears, you know where they are going to end up. Okay.
Exactly. And she stalks Catherine. She
Mm-hmm.
stalks Charlotte. Look at
Mm.
William will never want them
Then
near
anywhere
his
near.
family. To
Mm. Mm.
I do believe that
Yeah.
was Charlotte, because it looks like her legs in that
Mm.
photo. That is so sinister. It's
Very,
like,
very.
what was that movie years ago, of the white female that was stalking? It was a famous movie, um, white female stalker or something. It'll come to me. It was actually quite chilling. This is what Meghan is.
Mm.
If Harry ever wants to go back, it'll only ever be without her, and he will never be as a working royal, and
He will never
he will
be.
be annexed. He will not live on the grounds of the royal
Or
family.
even
He'll
right
be
now,
no.
even right now as we speak, apparently he has to put it in writing if he's to request to stay at any of the royal residencies. He has to put that in writing, and then they look at it and they can say no or yes.
Single white
After,
female. Yeah.
yeah,
That's the
exactly.
movie. Thanks,
Yeah, yeah,
Spectre. Yeah,
yeah,
she's not even a black woman. I never.
yeah.
This is garbage. She is a single white female archetype. Now, why didn't she do a podcast on that? William will never allow them near
No
his
chance.
family.
Yeah, no chance. They've had
If
a
if
lot
he
of.
comes back, they'll send him up to Yorkshire.
Yeah, yeah. You can't call it there with Andrew.
And I'm from
Frog,
Yorkshire. I love
where
Yorkshire.
Frogmore Cottage. Remember
Yeah,
how they complained about Frogmore Cottage? They put us in this small cottage where we couldn't even stretch our arms. The garden was so tiny that we could barely do anything in there.
FFS.
But these are the same cottages that Prince William and Catherine are living. Adelaide Cottage, which is not far away from Frogmore Cottage, is the same size.
I know.
Literally near the same size. And we are talking about the Prince and Princess of Wales, the future King and Queen. Okay, but they are not complaining. Okay, but
No,
this
they're
is
happy. They're like
complaining. They're
happy.
very happy, yes.
Yeah.
And they are living there with how many children? 3 children.
In a 5 bedroom
Yeah,
house.
yeah. Meghan and Harry were living in that Frogmore cottage. They didn't even have a child then by the time they moved in. And they are complaining it's too full, we are packed, we can't stretch. What a load of.
Bollocks.
Anyway, it's work day tomorrow.
It's actually been really fun. Oh my gosh. You could tell I haven't had a rant about those two for a while. They really grind my gears. Oh, girls, pray for me while I'm watching that cooking show,
Yeah.
won't you? I'll need you to pray for me because this really grinds my gears. I'm actually going to watch Pamela Anderson's as well, but I'll enjoy that one because I like shows like that. But, ooh,
Oh,
I'm steaming today. I get steam out of my ears.
you are. And I'm gonna be throwing elements of the show here and there as well.
Yeah,
I think I'll do a few videos as we go along,
yeah,
depending on how this week is going to be like. But
yeah. I might do the
it's
same actually.
we have to really scrutinize it, and we want to show
Yeah,
her that hey, we are not buying into these projects,
yeah.
these copycat projects. She has to really, really come out with something she can call her own. But this show is not her own. I don't think it is. It hasn't got any Meghan Markle on it at all. We've seen things like this before. People have called her out for copying ideas from Pamela Anderson. So we haven't really seen anything out of Meghan Markle. Not a single thing. Not right
No.
from Hatchwell, from Azeva, from wherever, because Azeva was a name belonging to somebody else. She picked up Riviera. What was the name?
Riviera Orchard.
Riviera Orchard. Is that the Santa Barbara one? Which was the name called for the sun? It was the name called Santa Barbara area. Is it Riviera? American Riviera Orchard?
American Riviera Orchard.
Riviera Orchard.
The
Okay, so
trademark
she
was
wanted,
denied. Yeah.
yeah. So she wanted to use that. clearly, again, it wasn't hers. She's trying to make somebody else's thing become hers. So we haven't seen anything belonging to her up to now. Okay, so when they left the royal family going, they thought it was going to be an easy road. Okay, they thought they're going to go and start this big brand, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry brand, which was going to become big and big and big. That has come down falling back on them because it hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't even gone a step bigger since they
No,
left.
they've gone
They are still,
backwards.
they are going backwards. Those
Yeah,
two had the potential to become big, huge, working for the royal family, and they threw all of that away. And now here
yeah,
they struggling, putting their
yeah.
project on Netflix, of all things on Netflix. This
Mm.
is we've got my brothers and sisters in Africa, wherever they're fighting hard to have their little shows go on Netflix. And here Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, Duke and Duchess of Sussex, also fighting for the same opportunities on Netflix when they had the power to become big without even blowing that horn. Because what they're doing right now is like they're blowing through a cow's horn. Ooh,
Oh, I love
ooh.
that.
Just calling
Nice.
for people's attention. Look at us. We are here. Look at us. They
Yeah.
wouldn't need to do that had they stayed within the royal family. You
Yeah.
know, but
You're right. Remember when they did leave, she said, you know, 'cause she thought that Hollywood would be falling at her feet, and she said she was only going to work with directors of her choice. Yeah, I can just imagine Hollywood groaning and the directors going, F you.
yeah.
Like, what a, gee, she really thought she was the
Oh
bee's knees.
Oh my God. Oh, we are going to hit the ground running. That's not how things work. Okay? It's not. You know, when she first arrived to the royal family, oh, Meghan Markle, tell us about your experience in the British. Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Can't wait. I'm going to hit the ground running. What happened? She ran 5 kilometers and gave up.
You and I, we're starting to sound like we're drinking, we're on a bottle of wine here. We're on our third bottle of wine, girls. We're having so much
Absolutely.
fun.
Yeah.
This is the kind of conversation you have. They'll talk about. It's like it is a comedy. It is a tragic comedy, but it's a freaking comedy. Oh, they're so stupid.
Yeah. She should be actually, she should be releasing a book, okay, and talking about how she wasted this opportunity to become big. She should be writing about her mistakes. Okay, she should be telling the whole world, you know what? Okay, if I had chance to go back in there, I would do things differently. Okay, these are the things she should be telling the world, sharing lessons and talking about how these experiences since leaving the royal family has really showed how how impatient, how inconsiderate, how whatever, greedy and whatever she was, and that she's prepared to change. Now, she would sell
And she
out
gets
like a hot cake. Okay?
did you see what Becky replied to you saying she was going to hit the ground running, and she's written, and then she just hit the ground.
She just hit the ground and stayed there. Yeah.
But I like what you really make a good point there because you say she should be writing a book about her mistakes. That would be
Her
a
mistakes.
bestseller.
Yeah, yeah.
How I really messed up the royal
How
family,
I messed
how I
up. Yeah.
failed, how I
How I
failed as a
failed.
royal.
Yeah, how I
Yeah,
threw away the best opportunity to do good
yeah,
in the world.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and how impatient I was, how I underestimated this role of marrying into the royal family, how I thought everything was going to be bed and roses. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she should be writing these things. Her book should be around her mistakes because people can associate with that more than her glorifying herself as Meghan Markle. They did this to me, they did that to me. I'm good at this, I'm good at that. I'm starting this cooking show. I'm really forgetting all about the mistakes and the wrongs and everything she did. And she thinks, oh, it's okay. People are going to love her and accept her regardless.
Well, she could have,
Mm.
after she left, she appeared pretty panicked when she left Invictus. She could have come out and announced, I'm redoing the first couple of episodes. We've decided to take it over to our own kitchen. If she'd done that, people would have respected her.
Sue Clark says, okay, yeah, she needs to make a humble pie and have it.
Have a huge slice of it. I know. I know. You've got them all laughing today, Francis.
Right,
They're all
Joe, we are
having
living as
fun.
well. We are living as well, Joe. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.
See you, Joe. Lovely to see you. Yeah.
See you, Joe.
But
Right.
it's true. I mean, do you know, if she wrote a book, uh, even if she'd said, oh, I think we've got to take the show over to our place, we're going to
Yeah.
redo the first, people would have tuned in and stayed tuned in, because they would have
Yeah.
thought, let's get a glimpse of these two palms they're always talking
Yeah.
about. Let's get a glimpse of the pool where Archie was on his little bike. People want to see where they live. They don't want to
Yeah.
see, but if she'd done that, we would have
Yeah.
we would have stood up.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, Catherine,
Yeah, we
we'll
could
follow
laugh
up
all
with these
night.
conversations.
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
good way to finish the show. It's
Yeah.
really
We'll
good.
catch
Yeah.
up again. Probably midweek.
Everyone's been fabulous. Looks like everyone's
But
enjoyed your
yeah, but
humor,
but
Francis.
yeah. Thank you everybody for being with us today. We have appreciated your time, your
Greasy. Oh,
wisdom you bring on these shows is highly appreciated. Thank you, every single one of you. Please watch our videos and please. Without you, we are nobodies on YouTube. So we truly appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
yeah,
And
thank you
please
guys.
subscribe to Catherine's channel as well.
Yeah, a Royal
Catherine,
Australian. A
a
Royal
Royal
Australian.
Australian. It's a new, she changed the name from Arroyo Ayota. And check if you're still subscribed to Francis Page Media as well, because we have this YouTube unsubscribing people for whatever reason. I don't know why. Our numbers have sort of dipped down a little bit. But I was told that YouTube is trying to get rid of all these bots accounts and whatever. That's why our numbers are coming down. But we are so grateful to have all of you always turn up to these videos and live streams. Thank you ever so much, guys.
Thank you.
Catherine,
Thanks, Sam. Yeah, thanks,
anything
Francis.
for our crowd before we go? Catherine?
Oh, yeah, look, this is such a boost in the arm. I really enjoyed our giggles. I thought, oh my gosh, they'll think we've been drinking because we're just talking like a couple of old pals,
Yeah.
sipping the champers or beer or something. And
Yeah.
it's because it's the kind of conversation where you really just get a bit carried away and you can't stop laughing. So it was great.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shot in the arm. Thank you, guys. Thanks for
You're
your time.
always,
Thanks,
always.
free speech.
Yes.
Lovely to
Thank you
see
so
you
much.
all.
Lovely to see you all. And we catch up with you in midweek somewhere, somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah? Yeah.
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Catherine, take care, my lovely.
You too,
And
Francis.
enjoy a good day as we have a good night here in the
I
UK.
will. I
All
will.
right. Bye bye.
Bye. Cheers, sweetie
Bye.
darling.
Cheers, darlings. Bye.